Hi, this is John DeVito, and today I'm going to be talking about the movie The Big Short. In this movie, you have one of the main characters named Michael Burry. Michael doesn't have the greatest social skills, but is very good with numbers. One day, he has his worker get him the top 20 selling mortgage bonds and what mortgages are in each one, which consists of thousands. Now, Michael read all of this, which is absolutely crazy, and at the end came to realization that he wants to short the mortgage bonds. No one has ever done this, nor has anyone ever thought to do this. But banks, when they run out of good mortgages to put in them, banks start filling these bonds with riskier and riskier mortgages called subprime. Michael found out that these mortgage bonds that are supposedly 65% AAA are actually very wrong and misleading. Michael then went to a bunch of firms and told him that he wants to short the mortgage bonds, and they were all for it. They said, "Give me your money," and Michael gladly gave it to them because he knew that all these people were wrong and he's going to make a ton of money at the end of it. It just took time. Now you have another character named Mark Baum. Mark has his own little hedge fund with some workers in it, and one day they got a phone call from a guy named Jared. Jared didn't mean to call them, but started telling them about shorting the mortgage bonds, what Michael said to do. And he hung up because he realized he called the wrong people, but no one else was in on his idea, and Mark was. So Mark and Jared met, and Jared told Mark more about this situation. Mark had some interest in it and wanted to get back at this corrupt business world that he thinks screws over the American people. So Mark had some interest in it, but wanted to learn more about this. So him and his team went down to Florida, and there they spoke with a real estate lady and two mortgage brokers. These mortgage brokers told them that they have about 60 loans a month. Most are adjustable rate mortgages. No one gets rejected here, and they barely have them fill out the paperwork, where they don't have them fill out income or their job. So the people they are going after is like immigrants and strippers. They have no idea what they're getting into, but they don't really care. As long as they're getting a home to live in, they're more than okay with it. Now, these mortgage brokers make about $2,000 on a fixed rate prime, but they can make $10,000 on a subprime adjustment. So obviously they're going to try to sell the subprime adjustment. Now, Mark found out that these strippers don't just have two loans on a house. They have multiple houses and can even have a condo. Once Mark found out all about this, he called up Jared and says he wants in on shorting the mortgage bonds. Now you have two other characters named Jamie and Charlie. Jamie and Charlie are two young guys who also saw the opportunity to short the mortgage bonds. They contacted their friend Ben, who has many connections, and got them into the business world more, where they were able to short the mortgage bonds. Only a handful of people saw this economy crashing, and they shorted the market that it would happen. All these top business people who think that they know what they are doing were living in a lie and tried to make it the truth, but really it just came crashing down on them. Where the rest of the economy suffered, and like Mark says, the corrupt people didn't go to jail. What happened was the banks took the money that the American people gave to them and they wrote themselves big bonuses. And they lobbied the Congress to kill the reforms. After that, they then blamed it on the immigrants, the poor people, and even the teachers. Now we're going to talk about 3 ethical lapses. The first ethical lapse is Standard & Poor's. Standard & Poor's is one of the largest credit rating agencies. And what they did was they gave all these bonds higher ratings, like AAA, where their ratings were supposed to be significantly lower. The reason they did this was because all of these ratings, if they would have gave them lower ratings, the companies would end up leaving them and go to their competitors. And they did not want that to happen. So this led to a collapse because everyone was purchasing these false bonds where they had false ratings. Now you have the mortgage brokers. This is the second ethical lapse. These mortgage brokers were targeting lower credit score and lower income people like immigrants and strippers. And what they did was they gave and approved mortgages to them. They were very crafty with the paperwork, and they were selling them prime adjustable mortgages because they benefited from bigger commission. The firm also offered ninja loans, which meant no income and no job. These people had no idea what was happening, and they could not afford the homes that they were getting themselves into, which led to a collapse in the economy. The third ethical lapse was Mr. Chow, who is a CDO manager and is supposed to be working with and helping individual investors. Now, instead, he was influenced by Merrill Lynch, and what he was doing was he was steering his individual investors into benefiting himself and Merrill Lynch. Now, these people were investing their money into these funds that were going to collapse and have zero value, but he was doing all this just to benefit himself and Merrill Lynch, which then led to a collapse of the economy, which was very wrong of him. Now, do I think a government got a pass on all this? I definitely think so, because about $5 trillion was lost, 8 million people lost their job, and 6 million people lost their homes. The government cannot let this happen to America, and they really need to be more on top of this. Thank you.